Hi guys, welcome back to ChessTrainer. Today, as always, we've got a great series, the 10-minute opening series. This mission impossible we've taken on to create repertoires in just 10 minutes. We're going to try again today, and this time with an opening that's very dear to me, the Stonewall defense, which I would actually also call the Stonewall attack. So we'll try to hit our opponent with a wall of stone. So the Stonewall is basically played like this. These are the first moves of the Stonewall. So we build this wall of pawns, this stone wall made by the black pawns, placing them like this. So what is black's objective in this case? But we'll soon see that we can also play it as white, with the colors reversed. The goal is to develop our pieces like this: the knight to f6, the bishop to d6, and castle short. And then we'll try to checkmate our opponent. But let's continue. White continues to develop normally, and we also bring our knight into play. So far, everything is normal, with white looking to castle, and we castle as well. Okay, let's continue with the standard moves. White tries to develop this bishop as well, and now we start our plan. Knight to e4. The knight reaches this very strong square where it can hardly be touched, because if it's captured, of course, knight takes, pawn takes, and there's even a fork. But even bishop takes isn't good, because at this point, let's say the pawn on e4 removes the defender of black's castling. And now look at how dangerous our pieces are against black's castled position. So in general, it's never a great idea to capture on e4. Alright, our opponent keeps developing their pieces, and here we start with our idea. Rook to f6. What's the idea behind rook to f6? We want to play rook to h6 to basically create this attack on the king side. Okay, white, unconcerned about the danger, plays queen to c2, keeps developing their pieces, and we play rook to h6. Once again, white continues with their pseudo-development and plays rook to c1. And at this point, this position is already lost. I invite you to pause the video and find the tactical combination that gives black the win. I sincerely hope you successfully found it, and the crucial combination here is that the bishop precisely takes on h2, delivering a decisive check. At this critical juncture, white has absolutely no other choice but to immediately capture the attacking piece, and after the queen moves to h4, the entire game is practically and undeniably over, because now I will effortlessly recover my knight, and with significant interest, of course. And if the knight desperately tries to escape and move away from the immediate danger, then the queen moving to h1 is a definitive checkmate, thereby conclusively ending the game in a truly pure and classic Stonewall style. You see, this kind of attack is very common in the Stonewall structure. So we bring the knight to this very strong square, e4, we clear the square for the rook on f6, so we can then bring it to h6 and, let's say, create further attacking chances. But let me show you how we can try to further increase our attack. Let's suppose that white realizes they're at risk of this mate and plays the move h3 to try not to lose badly. Now here we can increase our attack in two ways. The first, and probably the most basic, is to push with g5. With the push to g5, obviously what we want to do is play g4 to remove the defender. So for example, let's say white continues with a developing move like rook to c1, and after g4 takes, now the knight is under threat, and in fact whatever move white makes, it doesn't matter. Queen to h4 will always come, with some rather unpleasant ideas to follow. Here too, as you can see, an unavoidable mate follows. There is no move that can save white from the inevitable. And the other idea, besides this g5, which is an idea present in all these Stonewall structures and is also, of course, a super strategic idea, is to play bishop to d7 with the plan of bringing the bishop to h8 and then to h5. So we bring this bishop to life, which honestly wasn't doing anything on c8, moving it, let's say, into the group of attackers and specifically targeting this knight on f3. Okay, another perfectly reasonable move. Guys, I'm trying to give you some general ideas, but it really depends on how white plays. You might apply one idea rather than another depending on the situation. Another evergreen idea is, of course, to bring the knight to f6 via d7 in order to better support the center. Obviously, I understand that you want to checkmate, so here you might prefer to play g5, trying to go for mate. And that's it. This is generally the structure of the Stonewall. So we set up the pawns like this, and then we've gained this outpost on e4, and then we have the possibility to lift the rook via f6. Then it can go to g6 or to h6 to try to checkmate our opponent. For completeness, I want to share a small advanced concept. The Stonewall is an opening that should be combined with another opening if played correctly. Because in this position, theoretically, playing this move is not correct since white still has the possibility to develop this bishop. If you are a beginner, this isn't a problem. Just play with bishop to d6 anyway, exchange the bishops, and then continue playing in the same way. However, I have to tell you that at a high level, this is disadvantageous for black because it's very beneficial for white to exchange this bishop. So, generally speaking, we should only play the Stonewall when white has already played the move e3 so that the bishop can no longer bother us. So, what's the alternative? In this position, if we want a complete and strong repertoire, even at the master level, the move here is d takes c4, the famous note boom variation, which I might explain to you in another video. For now, let's stop with the Stonewall. And I repeat, if you're a beginner, if you play f5 here, nothing bad will happen. No one will refute you just because you played f5. Even though, at the master level, f5 here it's not very precise. Okay, I also want to give you another note. Our Stonewall, actually, if you like this structure, can also be played with white, with colors reversed. So as white, you could start with d4 and then play the moves e3, okay, c3, and then you play f4, and you're perfectly back into this Stonewall structure. Again, as I mentioned before, I don't like entering it this way because black still has the chance to develop the bishop. I repeat, if you're a beginner, it's no problem. But if you're already a more advanced player, keep this in mind. So, for example, here try to be clever. Instead of playing f4 right away, maybe first play bishop to d3, wait for your opponent to play e6 so that the bishop can no longer come out, and then go for f4. Here too, let's look at a few examples. Bishop to d6, knight to f3, short castle, knight to d7, knight to e5 as before, queen to c7, no problem, rook to f3, and again rook to h3, and then lots and lots of problems to follow, right? You see, the position is exactly the same as before. Actually, here the colors are reversed and white even has an extra tempo compared to before. So once again, we're threatening our bishop takes h7. But here, I'll play bishop. I'll play bishop to b7. And once again, I'll set a little trap for you. It's white to move and win. It may look the same as the previous position, but I think it's better if you take a moment to think about it. Let's see if you can give me the exact solution. Well, here the exact solution is not bishop takes h7 like before, because after knight takes h7, queen to h5, black has the move knight to f6, which attacks the queen and defends the knight on h7, so we've been tricked. So, what is the precise move here? I hope you found it. The precise move was to first play knight takes d7, eliminating the double defender, and after queen takes d7, now bishop takes h7. Now yes, knight takes h7, queen to h5, and just like before, the knight can't be defended. If the knight moves away, queen to h8 is checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this Stonewall, I hope you liked it, and I hope you'll apply this idea in your tournaments with great results. As always, if you want to support this channel, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. Let me know. I'm curious if you managed to deliver lots of checkmates with this tactical theme, or at least if you managed to win these games. I'll see you in the next video.